welcome to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I am your hardcore host, Rick Kidd, and I'm joined by the hardcore crew. First, from Lance Moss TV, he's the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, what's going on?
Not much. You sure we're on now?
Yeah. Fuck you, we're on.
Man, love you.
All right, and then, of course, from the Skeleton Realms, he's the Lord Skeleton himself, Joseph Knight. Joe, you have some groundbreaking news about Liv Morgan.
Yeah, it feels like deja vu, doesn't it? I think I've repeated myself before, but I think I'll repeat it again.
Well, it's, if you're WWE fans, they won't have a problem with that.
Yeah, exactly. If you're a WWE fan and you're watching anything on Raw or SmackDown, you probably got the attention span of a fucking 2-year-old. So, well, you know what? Liv Morgan actually has a legitimate injury. She was hurt. She was hurting her and Raquel Rodriguez's tag title defense against Damage Control. Sources haven't heard specifically what happened in that match or how severe it is. Rick, we've talked about the scenario of this girl keeps getting injured. When she was, working her way up, she was getting injured. When she became champion, women's champion, she was injured. And now here's another injury to her case. I think what she's just trying too hard, and it's just costing her at the end.
You know what? And that's a strong possibility, especially in the world of, in WWE. It is so hard to get up to that spot and, reach to the, be at that top level. You only have a handful of people who get there. And once they're there, you have people like Roman Reigns, Bianca Belair, even Charlotte Flair and others who are there for several months. And then they'll go back up again and again. So I think I can understand why someone like Liv Morgan would try to push herself a little bit harder. Lance, what's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and from what I saw on Raw last Monday, but the way they were packaging it, it looked like she got kicked in the head.
Never good.
Oh, so it's nothing serious then.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, man, that's horrible.
Okay. That's Joe at collision.com.
Hey, let's face it. Her best assets are her body, not her brain. So let's just put it that way, all right?
All right. That's fair enough. Why don't we get on to some of our main topics of the night? Last night, we had some really upset rumors words about Billy Superstar Graham was hospitalized. We know that he's been injured, but he's been out for some time. But now more recent reports are saying he's taken for the worse, and now he's on life support, guys. There was one article I read, and I'm not going to hold that that person liable, that report liable, that they were thinking about taking him off of life support or just letting him go. Joe, I know that you grew up watching Superstar Billy Graham, so why don't you tell us a little bit about him and give us some of your thoughts?
Wow, I've seen Superstar Billy Graham throughout his career. Like I was still a kid, and I didn't really get into watching wrestling till the Hulkamania era. But I did see archive footage. They actually showed, past footage of Superstar Billy Graham. And my God, this guy was, first of all, he was the first Hulk Hogan. He was the template that Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea wanted to emulate. So he was basically he started out as a bodybuilder. He went into wrestling. He was in the AEWA when he started. He was learning the gift of gab. He went to the WWE. Again, he beat, I believe he beat Bruno Sammartino or Pedro Morales for the WWF.
Yes, it was. It was actually Bruno Sammartino. He beat him. It was during a roll-up pin. It was a like a heel roll-up.
Cheap pin, right?
The cheap pin, and fans were livid. I remember that.
Yeah, so he's done a lot in the business. He had reinvented himself later in the mid 80s. He went from the flamboyant, colorful tie-dye guy to a martial arts guy. He like black long pants. He did martial arts, and that's when he went to Jim Crockett Promotions in the NWA. And then he would come back in 87, late 87, to rejoin the WWE and really turn some careers around. He took Don Morocco, went from a long time heel to a baby face. He managed a couple of people. So he had a serious hip injury, and then I'm not going to hide it. He's had issues with steroids, and steroids have eaten his body up. But you know what? It's always sad when a talented guy, especially from the era of real wrestling, because I don't consider today's playground wrestling, the real wrestling, when you hear stories that they're on life support or they're hospitalized, and we've lost so many great people already. I hope he beats this, and I hope he comes back. And pretty much, Rick, he was the template for what you see as bodybuilding superstars and flamboyant guys.
Absolutely. And I did a little bit of research on that. He had the gift with gab, and I did not know that Graham worked in Stu Hart Dungeon. He came out of the that infamous dungeon, which was an also interesting piece. Um, you know, uh, we also saw, like, I think it was like a year ago, where Ric Flair was in the same situation. He was on death's door, and he managed to beat it. So I do hope he can beat it. Lance, your thoughts?
Well, if we lose the superstar, we lose basically, like Joe said, the archetype or the blueprint for basically wrestling in the 80s. Because bodybuilder that could wrestle and had the gift of gab, you wouldn't have Mach, you wouldn't have Hogan. Hell, you wouldn't have the governor himself, Jesse the Body Ventura, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Joe said, like modern day wrestlers now, you very rarely see a few, huge powerhouse guys. I mean, they are around, but it's not like in the '80s where they were dominant. If if you weighed less than 285 pounds, you didn't belong in the business. You were just gonna get squashed on.
They sent you to Memphis. Hey, Memphis was a light territory, but we still had some crazy bastards. But yeah.
All right. I want to move on a little bit. We also, another person who's been kind of out at sick for a while is Bray Wyatt. He's been absent since he came down with this mysterious illness. Nobody knows what it is. And that was a couple of weeks before 39. Wrestling fans have been asking, why is Wyatt sick? When will he return? Earlier this week, there was a rumor that Wyatt was released from the WWE because he was taken off any and all references on the WWE website. And then, of course, they came back and they made it clear, no, he's still with us. They just don't have anything for him due to his illness. Joe, again, we've talked about this more than once. What the fuck is going on with this illness, and why is it such a big secret?
You know what? That's a great question. Obviously we don't know what's going on legitimately, and this can all be an act. This could all be, might not even be an illness or anything. Could be possibly contract negotiation. And right now, with AEW snatching any former WWE guy, Impact Wrestling and the NWA is trying to grab people, I wouldn't be surprised they're just keeping this, like, don't say it's a contract dispute. Let's just say it's an illness and we'll work this through. And then they'll decide what they're going to do with the whole, with the entire, scenario with Bray Wyatt. Honestly, I think this is just being held up for contract until they can figure out what they really going to do, because we've seen WWE where they took this guy who could have been the next Undertaker. He went from that great Wyatt family with the rocking chair and the lantern. Then they made him into the Fiend, where he was the mystical evil monster. So I'm kind of curious what's next. And then remember, Alexa Bliss kind of betrayed him and kicked him off. So I think this is really negotiations to see if he's going to like what they're going to do, and pretty much see what's going to happen in this next step of his career. Remember, because this also affects his brother, Bo Dallas, who's Uncle Howdy. So whatever happens with Bray Wyatt affects him as well.
Well, actually, it's funny that you did mention Bo Dallas, because Bo Dallas, I think he also mentioned on social media that he is in fact sick. But again, it's like the big hush hush. So I don't think it's a contract dispute. I really don't, because he just came back. Granted, the creative things wasn't moving as fast as I'm sure Bray Wyatt wanted to, but I just something doesn't feel right. I don't know, Lance. What's your whole thoughts about this situation?
Well, I don't even think he was originally let go when they did the budget cuts because the WWE was still selling Bray Wyatt merch. But uh one of two things is happening. Either Bray has a chronic illness, which he might not. I straight up don't know. Or the longest damn repackaged job we've ever freaking seen.
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, I really hope if he has some kind of illness, I really do hope the best for Wyatt, one way or another, because he really is an amazing talent. So, again, best wishes goes out to him. Moving on.
Boss,
Yep.
somebody else has joined us.
Oh, Miss Zoe, have we joined us?
Yes, I have.
Yes. Please welcome to the panel the lovely Zoe Nightshade. Zoe, how are we doing tonight?
I'm exhausted. I'm still dead from that AEW house show on Friday.
Did you get a chance to capture John Moxley?
I did not. He did not show up. I did get a fist bump from Orange Cassidy, though.
Hey, well, you know what? There you go. I guess that's what you call a booby prize. All right.
They knew better than to let Moxley around there.
Especially me being second row seats.
Damn.
Yeah.
Now, I want to move on to FDR. During a recent Q&A session, the tag team champions confirmed once again that they will be stepping away from full-time wrestling when the AEW contracts are up in 2027. They pretty much just said it was a 4-year deal and we're done with that. We might come back every now and then. They still love wrestling, but they just want to basically step back and just, I guess, smell the flowers, so to speak. Zoe, your thoughts?
I mean, you kind of can't blame them. They work, and whenever they work hardcore, like nonstop. They were at that house show in Corbin. I think the next day they had to be at another house show. Um, I sit back and relax and enjoy time with your family while you got it.
And you know what? That's a really strong point because even AJ Styles, he's talking about wrapping it up when his final WWE career is done. I think this contract is 2025 if I'm not mistaken. But Joe, again, your thoughts about FDR cutting down to part time once their contract's up.
You know what? And it makes sense. When you're teaming with an individual for a long time, you want to take that sometimes a break from the industry. Especially then when you're going so much as a tag team for years and years and years. You want to step away. You want to reevaluate your career. You want to see if you still are interested in professional wrestling. That's the difference today. And look at teams like the Road Warriors, the British Bulldogs, the Rock and Roll Express. Sometimes they have to take a break and either get out of the business entirely for a while or separate for a while. But these guys know they're better. They're stronger as a tag team. So they're pretty much doing the right thing. Nurse your injuries, get away from the business, nurse your injuries, reevaluate what you're doing. Because if wrestling is not your forte and it's, you come to this point, okay, you have your money, you have your home, you're financially stable. When you come back, you can go to any organization you want to. That's a smart thing to do. Not a lot of people today will do that. They just want to go 100%, keep going, keep going, keep going, because they don't have nothing else to do. So kudos to them. It's good that some people know their limitation, know when it's time to get out and come back.
Absolutely. Lance, final thoughts.
Well, there's about a 70% chance they actually do leave. But there is still that little 30% chance after these 4 years are up in 2027 when Tony Khan tries to get them to stay with a probably a very nice number, they might stick around because it's still the wrestling business.
Well, Lance, I guess you did make a very fair point. A lot can happen in 4 years, so I guess we're just gonna have to wait for that time and just see what happens. I love the top guys. I think they are probably the last true tag team there is
Yeah.
out there. So, but again, you know, maybe they may change their mind. They might not and just stick to part time. We'll have to
Yeah.
wait and see. Moving on, we've heard all the rumors. We talked about all the rumor mill, nuts about CM Punk going in next month at AEW's Collision. Uh, there was a rumors of the roster split. That didn't happen. That was so Punk can have friends and people that he can work with. But now rumors are suggesting, and this was a funny one, that CM Punk might have to share a locker room with no other than Colt Cabana. I Yeah, exactly. I read that and laughed, and I'm like, and that came from fucking Dave Meltzer. Okay, that shows you what this fucking Nimrod is. He must be sniffing the glue again or something. I don't know. You know, uh, I mean, unless if these two had some kind of secret, like bromance and kissing made up, and they're ready to be best friends again. No fucking way. No way. I think he would rather hang out with the EVPs than Colt Cabana. Um, Joe, what's your thought about this fucking ludicrous rumor?
I think he just makes up shit just to sell that little subscription that he does or whatever. So honestly, if he has to share a locker room with Cabana, he's gonna have to apologize and mind his p's and q's. You know what? I look at this like business. Like this is a business. And excuse the noise. I have a 12-year-old puppy that's ripping stuff apart. Um, Basically, what you're seeing here, this is Punk's last chance. They put him in this. They kind of exiled him to this show. And he is probably on his P's and Q's right now, seeing where he is going to be, what's going to happen, how is this going to work. If he screws this up, which most likely he will, then they have the ground say, well, dude, we tried everything we can. You got to get, you're done. I seen it. It happens in business, in my business as well. I've seen it happen with individuals that just can't fit nowhere else because they do something and screw something up. So you got to put him in no man's land just to see how well that's his last step. If Colt Cabana and him get into it and it's proven CM Punk did it, then I'm sure Tony Khan has it now written in his contract. Said, look, dude, you're done. You're done. Get out. That's it. We can't do nothing with you.
Yeah. I want to give a quick shout out to our good friend Terry 3G, who also welcomed Zoe back to the show. Zoe, this whole rumor again, I heard you chuckling. I'm guessing that's your response about him, trying to be bunk up with Colt Cabana.
I mean, that is the most ignorant rumor I've ever heard in my life. I think that let's just let's play into it a little bit. Okay, let's just assume that this rumor is true for a moment. CM Punk is going to be in that locker room and he's going to mind his P's and Q's. Colt Cabana's not going to want nothing to do with him, but Colt Cabana will remain professional about it. He'll just avoid him. But CM Punk is going to sit there and mind his P's and Q's until he starts getting comfortable. And then we're going to see the old CM Punk coming back out ever so slowly until he gets blackballed from AEW.
That's pretty much it. Lance, your thoughts on this situation?
Well, here's the thing that old Mr. Meltzer forgot. I could have sworn they put Colt Cabana on Ring of Honor.
And you know what? Exactly. That's what I was I'm like, as we're all talking, I'm like, isn't he over Ring of Honor? I'm like, why would they even And when's the last time that CM Punk had to share a locker room with anyone? So
There was that one time when the fight broke out. They were sharing that.
no, well, that was when they shared the brawl. I wouldn't say they were sharing a locker room. They actually, the story was the EVPs knocked on his door, and that's when the fight broke up. But I digress. So yeah, I call 100% bullshit on that one.
Yeah.
While we're speaking of Collision, Warner Brothers Discovery told Connor and Casey of Comic.com said that CM Punk is not affiliated with TNT's AEW Collision. So that's pretty much where they stand. But we're talking about Collision a little bit, moving on. And this past week on Dynamite, we saw Miro, and then later night, we saw Thunder Rosa both walk into Tony Khan's office without saying a word. They left without saying a word. So, and there were rumors against also another wrestler could be making their return. Joe's favorite, Andrade El Idolo, or Andrade the Idiot.
And that's right, Andrade the Idiot.
And,
I guess he got tired of being boned by Charlotte Flair and decided, I better go and come here where it's safer.
well, if you look at the mock-up, which is a legitimate AEW mock-up, you see Thunder Rosa, you see Miro, and you also do see Andrade. But one person you don't see is Punk. So that's kind of interesting. So, Joe, what's your thoughts about all these guys coming back, aside from Andrade?
Yeah, thank you. We clipped him out of there quickly, didn't we? You know what? I with Thunder Rosa, you know what? This is going to be the land of the misfits because all the troublemakers are being thrown into this one place. You got Punk, which they, like you said, they didn't actually advertise him in a poster because they don't know where his stance is going to be. You know, now you got Thunder Rosa there. Again, another person who, you know, she's a great worker. She's decent, but she had problems in the locker room with the other women. So this is going to be, I'm guessing this is like the penitentiary. This is where all the bad boys and bad girls are going to go here. And if they fuck up there, then they out of the company. You know, now remember, this thing is replacing one of their internet shows. So this is kind of the 605 TBS Worldwide Wrestling NWA Jim Crockett Promotions type scenario. You know, bit modern card, mid card, some maybe superstars will appear on here, but it's not going to be that big. And as you know, I think they're just seeing who's left out of this, you know, roster, supposed split or where who's going to appear on what show. They pictured they don't hardly have people that everybody can't appear on one show, so it makes sense. Okay, you have Miro, who's a good talent. You know, he needs something really strong to push him. So he needs a good feud, a good solid feud that can carry him. So he's going to be there. You got Thunder Rosa, you got Andrade the Idiot. You know, you got Punk. So this is going to be, again, land of misfit toys.
Very true. Zoe. Now, Joe kind of made this as the land of the rejects, so to kind of speak, and it's on Saturdays, June 17th at 8 p.m. So, what's your thoughts about, you know, Thunder? Well, I'm gonna say Mira because I don't think Thunder is ready to come back. She still has back issues.
I'm interested to see what Collision is going to be like and who ends up on it. I think Miro will end up on it. I would love it if Miro and Lana ended up on it together. That'd be awesome. That's just me. And whenever you mentioned Andrade, the first thing that came to my mind was him and Charlotte have had a spat, and now she's making him apply for the renewal of his green card and pay for it himself.
Yay! It's about time somebody stands up for the same way.
That's Zoe at SkullduggersRealm.com.
Oh, you hate me? I'll go to SkullduggersRealm.com.
You know, hey, he's finished cutting the grass in their neighborhood. They tell him to go someplace else and cut the grass.
All right.
That was a joke. SkullduggersRealm.com.
All right, Lance. Final thoughts on that one.
Come on, Lance. You got to jump on the bandwagon.
Well, anybody else think the new logo looks like WCW Nitro?
It does. I looked at it and I'm like, that kind of looks like the old WCW show.
Hmm.
So I definitely got that whole like retro feel. I think again we've talked about this in the past that's exactly what AEW is trying to go for. That little bit of retro. And Terry 3G said Abaddon's been recently doing a lot of indie shows recently, and you know what? I actually liked Abaddon. I
Yeah.
watched on
Ooh,
AEW. Say again, Zoe.
I say, ooh, I hope she's on Collision.
Well, she's been, as Terry 3G pointed out, she's been doing a lot of other house shows and a lot of indie shit. And I would like to see her rise up to the top, but unfortunately, you know, I think what's going to happen is we're going to see mid card wrestlers that really never got the shot and go over to Collision where they're going to get boosted up. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I have that bad feeling. I still think that some people who never got a shot, only got a shot on Dark, will come on just to be the jobbers. And I have that really dark feeling about that. No
Yeah.
pun intended.
Yeah.
So, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see and see what happens. So, moving on, AEW is in a copyright battle with Composite Effects regarding the design of Luchasaurus' mask. Composite Effects filed a copyright lawsuit back in 2022, suggesting that Luchasaurus' mask is infringing on Composite Effects' Viper silicone mask. AEW filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit, but the judge denied it. The company's biggest issue with AEW using the mask is that they're using the mask without getting any kind of royalties because they are also merchandising this. Lance, your thoughts?
Ooh, yeah, that's bad. But they got two choices. Tony, pay the man, or call somebody else up and have them make that man another mask. There's your two choices.
Well, I was thinking earlier today there could be a third choice where he just gets his face, the mask ripped off, and I know it's Luchasaurus, who is loves the lucha libre life. You don't take your mask off unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah.
And right now he's not even in any matches. We're talking about Christian Cage who's trying to get a match. Why? I have no fucking idea. But Zoe, what's your take on this?
Katie's got like 3 dino masks that I know of. He can borrow any of those he wants to.
you know,
But
and
I mean, it's a dino mask for crying out loud. It's meant for kids, and yes, wrestlers use it too. Let the man have his daggone gimmick.
yeah. Um, Joe, now I gotta kick this over to you. Now, I saw the two masks, and I don't see any reference at all aside from they both have scales. Luchasaurus's old mask, the green mask, was just carved in a completely dark color. Now it's dark red. So, I mean, is this really just? Do they have any real merit?
No, it's just a spitty spat. They're trying to see if they can win this in a court in a pretty much in a court setting. Like, well, he's using it. Like, imagine, if the mask looked like Godzilla, then Toho from Japan will definitely on it. But this is two different things. That mask, when I seen from the other company, more looks like an alien type mask. Like if you did a reptilian alien type thing, that's more what it looks like to me. Like one of those special effects, like the Krill from the TV show The Orville. That's what it looks like to me. So it's different, and it's not like Luchasaurus is going around saying he's whatever that mask is supposed to represent. His mask represents himself. So two things can happen. They can, like you guys said, they can drop money down and tell them to go fuck yourself. Here's your money. Go play with yourself. I hope you feel great about it. All for a piece of rubber. Now, I know some women care about fighting over rubbers, but that's their thing. So the second thing is change the mask, do something else. Remember, guys, not many years ago, remember how we used to talk about when Abyss came out and he was a ripoff of Kane. He actually, when he first came out and on the indie scene, he had a Kane type mask and he slowly had to gradually change it over the years. So I wouldn't be surprised this is just going to end up as something where either he changes the mask, they pay for the thing and says, shut up, here you go. and it's just, or the judge is going to throw out says it has no bearings on the case with either product.
Yeah,
You,
exactly.
can you imagine the judge's face whenever he realizes what they're there for that day? Like, seriously, over a freaking dino mask?
Yeah, exactly. Now I want to welcome Reverend Jake Slayer into the chat room. Um, he also talked about. He says Luchasaurus really needs a mask. He has such a smiley baby face. He's not scary without a mask. And then Terry says he can wear a Care Bear head and become Caberosaurus. No, nice try, Terry, but I
I don't
don't
know
think
about that one there.
Oh, if he really wanted to scare anybody, just wear freaking Charlotte Flair's face or Shayna Baszler's face.
Yeah, no kidding.
That'll stop. That will put a bunch of fear. They'll have to call the
Yeah,
Ghost Avengers.
But then he would have to keep avoiding Andrade.
Well, I think that's what Mike
That's
tried to
right.
do anyway.
Yeah, you know what, Rick? And I'm looking again. I'm looking at these two masks. I'm glad you put it up. And I'm looking at it. You could see the difference because Luchasaurus's mask just covers the front of his face, and he has the straps in the back. He has his hair coming over it. This other one's a full body. It's a full shoulders, neck, over the head type mask.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, the only references I see, maybe aside from maybe the shape of the eyes and the scales, that's it. I don't see anything else.
Yeah, there's no horns. The coloring is different. It's a full mask on one side, and then Luchasaurus, because he still has his mouth that's open, so it only covers certain things. I see this as a no-brainer. This is kind of like the scenario where that guy tried to sue WWE because he was too close to the pyro or to the sound, the
Yeah,
speakers.
this is just somebody looking for, hoping to get a quick buck, and somebody may be like, AEW will just do a quick fold and whatever. But yeah, I find this complete bullshit too as well. So some people in the HWR chat room and our Facebook group page actually think he has merit, but I guess we'll just have to see what comes. Now we're going to move on. For months, we've heard the reports about Roman Reigns taking a big break after WrestleMania. Well, no, it looks like the Undisputed Championship will also be taking a vacation. Uh, as WWE wants to keep Reigns' status as an unbeatable champion. So, which again, we talked about another reason why WWE has to create this other title. Lance, WWE is fucking notorious for having to break records every single time. I don't fucking get it.
Yeah, and it's easy for him to break the records when half the time he ain't even fucking wrestling.
Well, if you go back and you look at somebody like Bruno Sammartino, I saw this on Twitter. He had it for like 4,200 days or something like that. So if they're really planning on doing this with Reigns, he's got 2 more years to go, at least. Zoe, your thoughts?
I mean, just put the belt on somebody that's going to work for the love of God.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Jake Slater asked so if there's 3 titles. Right now, technically, there are 3 titles if you want to, because what had happened back before WrestleMania is Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns unified the WWE and the Universal Championship. So now it's the Undisputed Championship. They just haven't made it one title. I'm guessing that WWE's logic is, well, Roman Reigns is going to hold on to 2 titles, so now it's going to make him look like a bigger champion. So that's my thought.
Question. If there's a new world champion, is Roman still undisputed?
Yes, he is the Undisputed Champion. Which I feel, again, is another WWE logic fucking thing. Joe, what's your thoughts on all this?
Well, you know what? I'm also gonna chime in on that, Rick. He is the undisputed universal champion. That's the new term that they're using for him. He's basically now separate from everything else. So now the new belt, let's call it the big W gold belt, is the new world heavyweight championship. They actually backpedal. This is how interesting this story is. They backpedal and reactivated the history of the WWE slash WWF slash WWF. If you want to throw WCW there, because the big gold belt was Flair's, they're reactivated that history. So that belt is now going to be the most. That's and Triple H even mentioned it too. This is going to be the recognized world title. So this is going to be the big prize now. Roman's belt is run its course. You're not fighting aliens. You're not fighting fucking, you know, monsters. So how can it be a universal title? But that's again, this is WWE's logic. So the way I see this is they're going to give Roman Reigns his timeout. He's going to say he's the longest reigning Universal Champion, not the World Champion. He's the longest reigning Universal Champion. So technically the longest World Heavyweight Champion was Hulk Hogan. So let's see how they play this out. To me it sounds ridiculous. You and plus Reigns cannot lose. Oh, Uncle and Auntie Samoa can't say, "Oh yeah, we can't have him and his family look bad." Let's send him packing for vacation. He can take his belt with him, so he doesn't lose it. So he's doing that once a month for once every other month title defenses. So this that's why they're trying to push this new belt. By doing this, you're going to actually see him being kind of phased out a little bit because this other belt's going to get. Imagine if this belt gets more attention than his belt. It happened with the Intercontinental Championship between Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat. That belt became the more prized than the world title.
Yeah, exactly. And Jake Slater also asked why are they having this new title. It's the same reason why WWE created this Universal Championship because they had to have a world champion on each show, so that way one show wasn't the lesser of the other. Which I still think is bullshit. I mean, even to this day, it makes no sense. There's only one big world champion. If that world champion can't be on every show, then what's the fucking point? But now that, for a while Reigns was doing it before and a little bit after WrestleMania, we saw Reigns back on SmackDown and Raw. But once the draft happened and this new title came out, Triple H made it very clear that Roman Reigns is going to stay where he is. And so this new title is pretty much, again, Raw. So that's pretty much the sums of it. Zoe, what's your thoughts?
I already said I just hope that they put it on somebody that's actually going to work.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. We've been going around like crazy. We do have
I'm
one.
just sick and tired of putting belts on people that don't want to go out there and work for it. It's so annoying. It's an embarrassment to the business, if you ask me, because every person I've ever met that's held a championship belt in the indies, what do they want to do every show? They want to defend it. They put their blood, sweat, and tears into it. They don't just pack up and go on vacation with the belt.
Yeah, well, Brock Lesnar actually did that a few years back when the Universal Championship first came in.
Yeah, and he's a piece of crap too.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I want to move on to one last topic. Last week on Dynamite, we saw Don Callis turn on his longtime friend Kenny Omega, which caused him to lose his match against Jon Moxley. During the cage match, Kenny slammed Moxley with a V-trigger that broke open the cage, and that's when things went south for Omega. I have to say, honestly, up until the very last second, I was shocked because I didn't think that Don Callis would turn on Omega. But Joe, you showed me this little secret. That's back when the Shield broke up, when Seth Rollins first turned on the Shield. He grabbed the screwdriver out of Moxley's hand, and he circled slowly around behind Omega, and then all of a sudden, that's where he did when he slammed him with a screwdriver. And I saw it the very last second. I'm like, oh shit, he's turning.
Yeah, you can. This is the thing in today's professional wrestling. If you really pay attention, you can see when something's going to happen. And in this case, just like with the with the whole Shield thing back in the day, you kind of got that feeling. You saw it happen when he started pulling back Seth Rollins and he hit everybody. You kind of saw what happened. So, the same thing here. I think basically since the Blackpool Combat Club lost Regal, they kind of figure, we need a real good spokesman for this group because there's just so many egos. You got, Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, whatever the fuck he wants to call himself, Goat Face Boy. He's there. He could talk. You've got Moxley, who's mostly, if it wasn't for the hardcore, he's really nothing. But he could talk somewhat. Then you have Cesaro, which is his thing. And then whoever, Yuta, he can't really talk well. So they needed someone. They need that spokesperson. And what better person to get the ire of everybody than to have Don Callis? And he's run his course. He's been with the elite. He's helped Omega get all these belts. It's about time that they just switch that guy. And now you see you can easily pick stuff up when they're about to turn.
All right, Lance, your thoughts on Don Callis making the turn?
To every wrestler, turn, turn, turn.
Oh,
There
Don't-
is a turn, turn.
Well, Lance, do me a favor. Promise me one thing, that you never do karaoke.
No, I don't unless I'm drunk.
Okay, well, when you're doing drunk karaoke, that's an exception, because everybody sucks when they're drunk. Okay, Zoe, your thoughts on this one?
I mean, whenever I saw it happen, my jaw hit the floor because I was on the phone with my mom and I saw it and I went, I gotta go, something's going on. But it did catch me by surprise because I didn't see him take the screwdriver out of Moxley's hand. Like I said, I wasn't paying attention at the moment. I just want to see how this man's character, his gimmick, his personality is going to mesh well with the Blackpool Combat Club, because they are just all about war. They're about blood. They're about fighting and everything. John Callis is kind of like a corny guy to me, and that's how I see him. So I'm really interested to see how all these personalities are going to mesh together with his. Um, can't wait to watch AEW tonight and find out more on it. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be watching Dynamite tonight, and of course, I will be giving my Dynamite play-by-plays. Unfortunately, my latest browser has not been liking my screen capture, so I'm gonna have to go back to using videos, but that's another story for another time. And that's pretty much it, guys, for this week. We talked about Liv Morgan. Go ahead.
I've got something if you guys want to talk about it.
Sure, go ahead.
Today. Becky Lynch takes an indirect dig at Logan Paul and Bad Bunny. Becky Lynch was quoted saying, I don't care about the celebrities. I don't care about you. You don't put your blood, heart, and soul into this business. You don't do what we do. You don't sacrifice.
Absolutely. You know what? And I have to agree with that wholeheartedly. And that's why I've seen people like Logan Paul. I don't really take him seriously. I sure as hell don't take anybody like Bad Bunny seriously. And to have somebody like Becky Lynch step up, even post it on social media, that says a lot. And that's a bold statement. I mean, I don't even think that's a heel move, Joe.
No, that's a straight shoot. And she's seen it too. And we've all seen it. How many times have we seen they give a match to Brain Dead Bunny? A piece of garbage who doesn't amount to anything. He's a rapper. Wow. Yeah. He doesn't do nothing for the community. He doesn't unite people. He doesn't do anything for kids. He's just a fucking low-level fucking rapper who just happens to like wrestling and kiss somebody's ass to get there.
Mm-hmm.
When you can go and spend 6 to 12 months in a legit wrestling school. I don't mean these little I got learned by the person who learned by the person who learned by the person who learned from somebody. I want you to really go to a hard knock school where they're going to put you in a stretch for a couple hours. They're going to pummel you until you learn, and then spend some time not in NXT. Go spend the time in the indies and make $50, if that. Learn how to do that and then come in. I hate when WWE does this. They take great talent, and obviously talent are morons for letting these people get over on them, because it does nothing for their career. But when you put someone like a Logan Paul over the Miz, or you put, Brain Dead Bunny over Damian Priest, what does that say about those guys? It just tells you, they'll do it for the money, and that's all they really care about. there's no more pride in professional wrestling. If these guys came in during the 80s and they tried to do that shit, okay, we have Mr. T. He was there. Didn't do anything specific. He was the headline of WrestleMania 1, but most of the work was done by the other guys.
And if I'm
So
not mistaken, that was a boxing match. That wasn't even a wrestling match.
no. He was in a wrestling match where he tag teamed with Hulk Hogan against Roddy Piper.
So that must have been the rematch then.
No. This was WrestleMania 1.
I remember WrestleMania 1.
The boxing was WrestleMania 2.
Yes.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So again, this is a scenario where it infuriates me when you have it. Yes, there are times we've seen it happen in more recent. The most recent besides WWE is WCW when they had David Arquette.
Oh God, please don't remind me.
So this is where shits go south. I am tired of seeing these actors who want to get in wrestling. And you know what? To his credit, David Arquette legitimately got into wrestling. He got into the worst wrestling, hardcore style, but he actually trained at a school. He actually went out and wrestled and did indies. So I give him credit. But what does Bad Brain Dead Bunny do? And what does Logan Paul do? What are all these celebrities, Pat McAfee and all these other guys? They don't contribute nothing except a cheap pop from simple-minded fans who think these guys are great. They're not great. They're pieces of trash. They take away from the legit workers, and unfortunately, WWE looks at this as no longer the sport it used to be.
And you go back to Pat McAfee, which again I thought was another fucking moron, and I was like, really? It's just guys like him again come in as you said, for the cheap pop, but now apparently he got some kind of spot contract with ESPN, so hopefully he'll be too busy to come back to another WWE event. Because I was getting tired of him doing commentating. This guy sucked on commentating. Lance, I know we veered way off topic, but your thoughts again about all these celebrities coming in.
Well, I'll put it like this. Becky, there's the reason they call her the man. And when Joe mentioned Arquette, yeah, he got into wrestling, and he also got sliced ear to ear by Necro Butcher, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Thank God somebody did. Now, if they can do a lobotomy to Brain Dead Bunny, maybe we could get his ass out. I cannot wait when he tries to do another Canadian Destroyer and he snaps his neck. I feel the same way for him like I feel for Saraya, seeing her in the ring. So I want to see these people get their necks snapped and they get paralyzed like poor Draws, who suffered a legit injury. And these guys are just getting over with, just here's some money, go beat someone. Yeah, and Damian Priest and everybody else, you're a fucking moron. Yeah, you're a company man or company woman, but I'm glad Becky Lynch, and I never seen eye to eye with Becky, but I gotta say, for someone to stand up for actual workers, that I hate to quote it, but she's the man.
And Jake Slayer in the YouTube chats said Logan Paul blew Bad Bunny, and you know what? I would not be shocked if that was actually happening. So I think we're going to wrap up this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. Please, if you like this show, hit that like button. Of course, always subscribe to Hardcore Wrestling Rants. We're over in the chat room in the group section, HWR or Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I want to thank our hardcore crew here today. Joe, you're over at Skull and Realms. What do you got going on?
Actually, finally, I have some time off. I can actually do my streams again. I've been loaded with a lot of work. I've been running around. I did a commentary spot for a wrestling company Saturday, so those are coming back, and I'm going to be doing more of those. So it's pretty much, I'm finally free to do at least a stream. So I'm going to be finally getting on that Mega Man series. And you can check me out at #SkullJustRealm. I'm on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, so just look me up.
All right. And of course, we love to welcome the Zoe Nightshade. Zoe, what do you got going on in wrestling nowadays?
Oh my God, I have so much going on in wrestling nowadays. We actually have a whole bunch of shows coming up. We have June 3rd in Lilly at the RCA football field. We have June 17th at my high school, Lynn Camp High School, where I graduated from. July 8th, also at the same football field in Lilly. August 5th, same football field. August 19th, Lynn Camp. September 2nd, same football field. So there is a whole lot that is going on. You can check them out over at Traditional Southern Wrestling. This is a great group of guys and girls. They really have the heart and soul for this business. If you are interested in becoming a referee, if you want to become a wrestler, if you want to be a manager, you can also contact them on Traditional Southern Wrestling. Mike Murphy puts on wonderful training programs. He actually gets down to brass tacks with it. You will learn the lingo. You will learn every single, every signal, every move, everything that you can think of.
All right, and there you have it, guys. So if you're in that area, make sure you get over and check it out. And Lance, you're over at Lance Moss TV. What do you got going on?
Well, right now it's every Tuesday night we go live on Lance Moss TV and friends. We never know who's going to show up, and well, it's every Tuesday night at 7:05 Central, 8:05 Eastern. So turn off the volume of NXT and listen to us because we shoot the shit for roughly hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe a little longer sometimes.
All right, and there you have it. I also want to give one last shout out to our good friends, Mr. and Mrs. A, over at BC Games and More. They are over on Facebook. I believe, Joe, they're on the weekends at 9 o'clock. Is that still the time? I know
Yep,
they're moving around.
Yep, you can check them out. Go to check out BC Games and More on Facebook. It's usually Saturday or Sundays at 9:30. You could check them out. They just appeared on the Hazard Con event, which is a comic con for anime and all that comic books. They were there, so you know, if you didn't get a chance to see them, now you could check them out on their YouTube, on their Facebook channel. I was supposed to go, but unfortunately, work had me extra busy, so I wasn't able. But I will be at Comic Con signing autographs and all. That's why I'm trying to get my streams back up and running before that event comes up in August.
Yeah, so once again, like I said, good friends, BC Games and More. They do a lot of old retro games, rare retro games. They do trivia, give out gifts, and they do a lot more. Again, BC Games and More. So, for the Hardcore Crew, I'm your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying, we'll see you when we see you.
Buy the shirt!